home of the Loch Ness monster, or Nessie, as we call her here. So we're welcome to Loch Ness and the Great Glen. So the water is incredibly deep. There are said to be numerous caves underneath the water, including one under the castle at Urquhart Castle, which is said to be where Nessie has her home. Now, Nessie is not a new story. There have been stories about Nessie since St. Columba came up the Loch in his little coracle, because St. Adamnan did record that while the saint was sailing up the Loch, he was approached by a giant sea creature. That's what they called it. And there are various theories about what he said to the monster. On the one hand, he blessed the monster, and Nessie just quietly swam away. And on the other hand, he told her to get lost, and that she would never ever get back to the sea again unless she left him alone. So you have a choice. Either way, there was a sighting of Nessie recorded in 582. And this is where we sometimes stop, but in fact, if we stop further, Billy, are you going to stop further along the Loch? Yes, there is a lay-by further along the Loch. If it's empty, we can manage to stop there, and we'll see what we can see from there. So, Nessie has been seen ever since 582 in the 6th century. Now, for many years, the sightings, there weren't so many sightings during the Middle Ages. And that was mainly because there was no road here. This road was only created in the 1930s. The main access was on the south side of the Great Glen. Oh, and if you look, we have a tall ship sailing up the Loch. We don't often see these. This is lovely, because she is a beautiful ship. A two-master. This is probably connected to the tall ships race. Have you seen any tall ships anywhere on your travels? No? There is an annual tall ships race where the sailing ships race around the coast of Britain, but they do come up through the Great Glen and they come through the Caledonian Canal. And it's lovely to see them. So I think, is that a Dutch flag on that one? It looks like it. So, Nessie, yes. The access road, the route between Inverness and Fort Augustus would have been no more than a track. And it went on the south side and it did not follow the Loch. It went quite far inland. So the only people who would have been watching the Loch would have been the sailors who were coming up Loch Ness. So there were some sightings. But then in 1933, they built this new road on the north side of the Loch, and because people could see, far more people could see the Loch at that point, so that's when the sightings began to be recorded. And it is fascinating because there are a lot of very reputable people have seen strange things in the Loch. And there is one man, Adrian Shine, who has devoted his entire life to trying to prove whether or not the monster exists. At the moment, there is a £25,000 reward for anybody who can give genuine photographic evidence of the monster. And this has been offered by Dave Fishwick. Did any of you see a film called The Bank of Dave? He is an American who was allowed to actually open his own bank, which is very unusual. He managed that. So he was here in Scotland at the beginning of June, and he offered a £25,000 reward for anyone who could give a photo showing photographic proof. Last month there were actually 3 sightings, and if you Google it, you can see the photos where people are convinced they have seen the monster. So it is up for debate. No, they don't. Okay, just not saying it. Okay, so now we are going to, this is the Clansman Hotel we're passing, and we are going to continue our journey, and very shortly we should come to a point where we may be able to see Castle Urquhart. Urquhart Castle is the castle which dominated Loch Ness for hundreds of years. Well, there was a settlement here at the time of St. Columba, but the castle is only recorded from the 12th century onwards. And it was, to begin with, a royal castle. It was built by King David I, and it belonged to the royal family. However, after various battles and wars, in the 13th century, it was given to the Grant Clan Grant, and they developed the castle considerably. So it had originally been purely a fortification. They also made it a habitable place with slightly more luxuries in it. So it was a castle for several hundred years, during which time it, as with all castles in Scotland, they were fought over constantly by the various clans and the various rivals. And eventually, in 1692, when the clans it was one of the Jacobite risings, Clan Grant decided that the castle was no longer fit for purpose. One of the reasons being that the castle was built in the days before they had any cannon. And the situation of the castle is not the best for the more modern era, because it is right out on a promontory, on a spit of land going out into the Loch, and it is very vulnerable to cannon or the trebuchets, the huge catapults which they used to throw rocks down on the castles below. So the castle was no longer fit for purpose, and the Clan Grant supported the Hanoverians, and they decided they did not want it used by the Jacobites, so they blew it up. If you see ahead of us, can we get in? Maybe if that car will move down a bit. Okay, Billy has managed to get us into the lay-by, and we can have a photo opportunity. You can get out and take a photo.
definitely some like weird different colors, like ripples and stuff, that in real life I can see that are definitely not like reflections of something. So let me see if I can zoom in. See what I'm saying? It's really hard to focus through the glass. Yeah, see? I don't think they're reflections of anything. Oh, maybe it's shadow from the cloud above it. But some of them could look like ripples of things. So that's interesting. Wide back out again. It's kind of interesting how the clouds are like so low. It's quite an overcast day. Speedboat. I can zoom in on it. There it is. But I don't see anything. And that white thing to the right of the screen in white, like looks like UFOs and stuff up in the air. That's just reflections on the glass of the bus that I'm in. Another boat. Where is it? Right there. I would think with all the activity on the loch, people would have evidence by now. No boat boats.
No, that was apparently that was the boat we should have been on. It's just gone home. Yeah.
I really do apologise. I mean, this is, to put it mildly, this is an absolute shambles. And I feel for you because this is not at all what you have paid for. We are doing our best to accommodate between the bus driver, who is only allowed to drive for a certain time limit, and he has to watch what we do because of that. We are trying to decide what would give you the best experience just now. There is no. Right, I'm going to sit down, so if everyone could sit down and then Billy can go, including me. I do like to speak to you. I do like to look at you when I'm speaking to you, but so we are approaching a small village called Loch. There are toilets in the centre of the village. It depends on whether the bus driver will get parked there, because this is not scheduled for us. So we will see what happens there. There are some small shops in Loch where you can buy souvenirs. They have some nice ones there. Then you can go back to Ness, but the problem there is that you can perhaps allow half an hour in Ness. Okay? Okay, can I see, no, tell you what, we can decide, when you see Loch, decide how much time you want to spend there, okay? And we'll work it on from there, right? We should be there in about 5 minutes, okay. Right. Okay, I'll try and keep you up to date with what has happened, because the last thing I said to you was that